Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through a dynamic effort lower workout. So for this 3-week cycle, my variation is an 18-inch box squat. So it's a squat variation because the last 3-week wave on my lower dynamics, I was doing deadlifts. So this 3-week wave, it is going to be squat. And I chose an 18-inch box squat simply because it's easier on my knee. So I've been working through a knee injury, and if I was doing these fast banded squats without a box and bouncing out the bottom, it puts a lot of pressure on the knee. So I decided to do a box squat, and I did an 18-inch box squat because it's easy to set up. It's just on the bench, and it is about from my sticking point, so it is working on what I want to in the squat, and these moved very well. I decided to do them just at 75% of my 1 rep max instead of 80%, and that's because I've been doing 80, 85, 90% of my 1 rep max, that's bar plus band, over the 3-week wave. But on week 3, I'm often finding 90% isn't moving as I want it to, particularly on the lower dynamic days. So I'm testing out doing 75, 80, 85% for this 3-week wave, and hopefully that will go better. So the first accessory here is good mornings. I decided to go pretty heavy with these. I think the heaviest I've ever gone is 160 kilos. That'll be somewhere in this series. I might not have gone as heavy as this before. It felt very heavy and I was going deep, and I was deliberately allowing my back to round a bit. So I said this last time I did these on the channel as well and explained this, but for those who don't know, I'm deliberately letting the back round a bit at the bottom so that I can work on back extension as well as hip extension. When I pull my deadlifts, I pull with a slightly rounded spine, and the reason is because it allows me to start in a more advantageous position from the bottom, and I can brace better with a slight curve in my back. That's the same as like basically every single top level deadlifter. Like they have a slightly rounded spine. So you shouldn't fear rounding your spine. People often have fear-mongered about that in the deadlift. And yes, there can be some like Snap City, terrible form where people are just like completely rounding their back and the weight's not moving and it's disgusting, and it's often like the skinny kid trying to do that. There's loads of videos like that out there. Obviously that's suboptimal, but when I'm doing these good mornings, they're mainly as an accessory for my squats and deadlifts, and I want to work on hip and back extension to help my back integrity when doing the squat and deadlift. So they went well. Then moving on to the quad extensions here. So these were fantastic because, like I said, I've been working through my knee injury and I haven't been able to go this heavy with these in a while. It's not particularly heavy for me. I think I did a set of 18 here on the first set and then a set of 16 on the second set, but no knee pain at all is a fantastic victory, and I'm just slowly building up these exercises. I did as well manage to push pretty close to failure. So on this first set of 18, I was a little disappointed with myself that I didn't push to absolute failure. I think I could have got 20 reps, but the burning in my quads here from like rep 12 honestly was ungodly. This exercise, because I've had my knee injury and I haven't been training my quads crazy hard like this, they're not conditioned to train to failure as much. And I once heard a phrase which was never let your mind fail before your body. Well, on that last set, I definitely let my mind fail first because the pain in my quads was really high. I was probably strength-wise capable of doing a few extra reps. But if you're new to the gym or new to an exercise like this, I haven't been pushing this, although I'm sort of a veteran of the gym, you don't need to push yourself to abject failure. If it is unbelievably painful, that's probably because you're not conditioned to push to failure. For example, if I push to failure on triceps, I've done that so much that honestly, it doesn't even hurt anymore. I'm just used to pushing to failure, and it's just when my strength is going to give out. But when you're unconditioned to pushing to failure, if you're a newbie, you don't actually have to push to abject failure. I still have DOMs in my quads today at the time of recording this voiceover. It's the day after. And on this second set, to be honest, I did push pretty hard. I only got 16 reps there, and that is, I literally didn't know what to do with myself. The burning was incredible in my quads. So anyway, yeah, you don't have to push to abject failure if you are a newbie. Build it up over time until your body is prepared to train to failure on a regular basis. So in future, I will build up training to failure in those quads and slowly build up the weight, and hopefully my knee feels fantastic like it did today or yesterday, which was when I did this workout. Then the next accessory here was calf raises. So I went the heaviest I've ever done on calf raises. I think I'm going to do these in the belt squat in future, because honestly, the hardest part of this was having the weight grounded down my back and the whole time. But the calves are very strong muscles, and I definitely believe you should push them heavy. I wasn't doing it off an elevated block just for the sake of variation. I decided to just do it flat and go really heavy instead. So some successful sets of 8 at 200 kilos on the calf raise, just trying to build up ridiculously strong calves. Then the next accessory here is my hip abductions. So I rigged it up with this set with the roller and a band, and this felt incredible. So with this setup, it actually targets both of your adductors and the outside of your glutes, even the foot that's on the floor. So in this side, my left foot, and then I switch sides. Both of the glutes get hit while doing this very effectively. Using the roller, instead of just kicking the band up, helps add a lot of control, and it just hits the adductors and those outer glutes in a much better way. Abductors, sorry. And another tip for all exercises like this: when you're doing a banded exercise and you have an anchor point, you can see that I've wrapped the band around before coming out, and the reason for that is I want the band to be a bit stretched even at the starting position. So even when my feet are together, the band should be stretched a bit in that starting position, and then you just stretch it more and more throughout the range of motion, and that's just to create a more even tension. If I just got a harder band but hadn't wrapped it around, there would be like almost no tension in the starting position where my legs are together, and then it would suddenly ramp up to almost impossible at the end. So often a more effective way of training banded exercises, if you're doing something like this, you could be doing banded rows, for instance. You could be banding your anchoring your band around some sort of upright, and then sitting on the floor and doing sort of like seated row style bands. It could be a home workout like that. If you just anchor the band and then pull it, and you haven't wrapped it around something, it will be very easy at the beginning and then very hard at the end, which could be what you're wanting. Like when I'm doing my banded squats, that's sort of what I'm wanting earlier on in the workout with dynamic effort. But here, what you generally want with an accessory is more of an even tension throughout the movement. So I advise getting a lighter band, wrapping it around a bit first to create tension even in that starting position. So in this exercise, that's when my feet are together, and then you just stretch it even more. That is going to allow you to have a really nice resistance curve. So these hip abductions I absolutely loved, and they did burn the outside of the glutes loads. So moving on to the final accessory here, it is reverse hypers. So I went with my standard working weight of 150 kilos. With these, I don't tend to like progressively overload them like usual accessories. Instead, they're more of like a sort of therapeutic movement. They're there to just like mobilize the spine, to try and build up the capacity in all of my hip and back extension, in my lower back, in my glutes, in my hamstrings. It even hits my upper back. That's why I dip and drop my head and then raise it back up for every rep as well, because that helps squeeze the upper back and just all of that posterior chain in general. But with reverse hypers, the swinging motion and the decompression feels great, and it's just to build up that back in general. But I don't try and like pick different rep ranges and beat it every time. You'll see I almost always do reverse hypers around 12 to 15 reps. So I think I did sets of 15 here, and it's just about pumping it up. And then when I find myself finding the weight ridiculously easy, I just jump it up. So I used to always do my reverse hypers at 100 kilos, started finding that crazy easy and could do sets of 20. So now I do 150 kilos. So yeah, it's not like other exercises in the way you progressively overload it. It's more about just feeling good. So that is it for today's video. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all of that good stuff, and have a great day.